But today is the day that I declare my decision of being done with ducking and dodging the dope description. Hoping humming hymns of humility would keep me humble. Really, I just been hunkered down, hiding out in the safe haven of this honeysuckle honeycomb called I've done that already.
When the news first broke in late August 2025, it hit like a thunderclap across Hollywood and beyond. Malcolm-Jamal Warner was dead. The reports spread with the speed of breaking news. Entertainment outlets, gossip blogs, even mainstream stations carried the story. According to early statements, the 55-year-old actor and musician had passed suddenly in Los Angeles, though officials refused to confirm exact details. Tributes poured in from colleagues and fans worldwide. Hashtags like #RestInPeace Malcolm trended for days, celebrating the life of the man who once played Theo Huxtable and went on to craft a long, respected career in both acting and music. For many, that seemed like the end of the story, a beloved figure gone too soon. But within weeks, the narrative took a strange and unsettling turn. In early September, blurry footage began circulating online. It showed a man laughing, eating, and moving casually in a downtown lounge. To most viewers, the resemblance was uncanny. The man looked almost identical to Warner, not just in his facial features, but in his mannerisms, his expressions, even the cadence of his laugh. The caption stamped across the clip read, "New footage of Malcolm-Jamal Warner alive, recorded last month." The clip spread like wildfire, jumping from Twitter to TikTok to YouTube compilations. Suddenly, the solemnity of Warner's death transformed into chaos. Was he really dead? Had there been a mistake? Or more disturbingly, was something being hidden from the public? What made the situation even more bizarre was how quickly the original upload vanished. Within hours of going viral, the video was pulled from most platforms, flagged for copyright infringement or privacy violations. But the internet never forgets. Dozens of uploads popped up, and soon entire threads on Reddit and Discord were dedicated to dissecting every frame. People compared ear shapes, tattoos, even the way Warner's eyes narrowed when he smiled. To skeptics, it was just a look-alike. To believers, it was undeniable proof Warner wasn't gone. The contradiction deepened when chat logs surfaced, allegedly from a private live stream in late July, weeks after his reported death. In one leaked snippet, a male voice that fans swore belonged to Warner could be heard joking with friends. Then, suddenly, another voice cut in, "Delete the VOD, delete everything." Moments later, the stream was scrubbed. To conspiracy theorists, this was the smoking gun, evidence of deliberate concealment, maybe even a cover-up. Meanwhile, mainstream outlets struggled to keep pace. Some stuck to the official story. Warner had died in Los Angeles, his family grieving in private. Others cautiously acknowledged the viral clips, calling them unverified, but concerning. TMZ ran a headline that captured the mood perfectly: Malcolm-Jamal Warner, dead or alive. As speculation spiraled, fans began digging into Warner's final months. His last verified public appearance was in May 2025 at a small music showcase in Atlanta. After that, his social media went quiet. Friends described him as reclusive but upbeat, working on new music projects. No one expected a sudden death in August, let alone unexplained footage surfacing afterward. The mystery wasn't just about Warner himself, it was about the silence surrounding him. No death certificate had been released publicly. No funeral photos emerged. No memorial service was streamed. Family members gave brief statements of grief, but declined interviews. The vacuum of information created fertile ground for theories that Warner had faked his death, that the industry had silenced him, or even that he was being hidden for reasons no one could quite explain. Adding fuel to the fire, one of Warner's longtime collaborators posted a cryptic Instagram story. A candle emoji followed by the words, "Some truths take time." Within minutes, Screenshots of the story were circulating across fan pages. Was it a confirmation of his death, or a hint at something more? By mid-September, investigators of the digital age, Reddit detectives, YouTube analysts, TikTok creators, had constructed elaborate timelines. They claimed Warner was alive as late as July, that the viral footage showed him in August, and that the death announcement in late August was part of an intentional misdirection. Theories ranged from staged disappearance to industry silencing to more outlandish claims involving witness protection and secret investigations. Whatever the truth, one fact was undeniable: Malcolm-Jamal Warner, a man once associated with stability and survival in Hollywood, had become the centerpiece of a viral mystery. His legacy, once simple and celebratory, now twisted into a puzzle that millions were trying to solve in real time. Was he dead? Was he alive? Or was the truth something far darker, hiding in the gap between official statements and viral clips? In the days following the viral footage, what had begun as a murmur of doubt erupted into a full-blown cultural obsession. Malcolm-Jamal Warner was no longer simply remembered as a beloved actor or mourned as a man gone too soon. He had become the central figure of a living paradox. Every clip, every screenshot, every whispered account was scrutinized like evidence in a criminal case. The question wasn't just, is he alive? It had become, why are we being told something that doesn't match what we're seeing? One of the first major analyses came from a popular YouTube investigator known as Scene Frame. His 25-minute breakdown of the lounge footage was watched nearly 2 million times in the first week. Scene Frame argued that not only did the man in the video look like Warner, but even the way he tilted his head and gestured while speaking matched archived interviews. To demonstrate, he split the screen, Warner in a 1994 late-night show interview on one side, the viral lounge clip on the other. The similarities were striking, but skeptics fired back. Several media outlets published articles suggesting the video was AI-generated, another example of deepfake technology manipulating emotions and sowing chaos. They pointed to inconsistencies in the lighting, small distortions around Warner's jawline, and pixel glitches that seemed unnatural. Yet for every skeptic, there was an equal number of believers convinced the footage was real. What unsettled people most was the timeline. If Warner had truly died in August, why did so many witnesses claim to have seen him after that? A Los Angeles rideshare driver went on record, swearing that in late August he drove a passenger who looked exactly like Warner from Hollywood Boulevard to a private gated home in the hills. He even recalled the passenger's voice. It was him, no doubt in my mind. He asked me to keep it quiet, slipped me $100 bill and got out without looking back. Then there was the alleged hotel sighting. A staff member at a mid-tier Beverly Hills hotel leaked security stills showing a man resembling Warner entering the lobby alongside a younger woman. The stills, date stamped 10 days after the death announcement, sent shockwaves online. Were these manipulated, or had Warner truly been moving freely while the world mourned him? Even Warner's colleagues seemed divided. A former co-star dismissed the rumors as internet nonsense, insisting Warner's family was in mourning and deserved privacy. Yet another long-time collaborator refused to comment, telling a reporter, "I know what I know, and I can't speak on it right now." That cryptic refusal only added to the firestorm. What made the case all the more unnerving was the silence from law enforcement. When pressed, LAPD repeated their earlier statement. No missing persons report had been filed, no investigation was underway, but the lack of official documentation, no death certificate, no coroner's report, no funeral details, became impossible to ignore. For many, this was no longer just a celebrity mystery. It was a question of trust. Could the public rely on official channels when evidence suggested otherwise? As theories multiplied, so did the stakes. Some believed Warner had faked his death voluntarily, perhaps to escape industry pressures or to protect his family from hidden dangers. Others believed he was alive but not free, trapped in some shadowy situation where footage leaked only accidentally. A smaller but louder camp argued the opposite, that the viral videos were all fabrications, part of a deliberate campaign to exploit Warner's death for clicks, ad revenue, and attention. Yet the raw emotional power of the footage couldn't be denied. Fans described the experience of watching it as haunting. For those who grew up with Warner on their television screens, the idea that he might be alive felt like hope clawing back from grief. For others, it felt like betrayal. If he was alive, why lie? If he was dead, why allow the circulation of manipulative fakes? The role of social media companies added another dimension. Why had the first viral upload been deleted within hours? Why were subsequent reuploads flagged with unusual speed, often before reaching large audiences? Some claimed Warner's name was being shadow banned, hidden from trending lists despite millions of mentions. Whether these takedowns were routine moderation or part of something bigger became another open question. And then, a final twist. A second video emerged, supposedly captured by a fan in Atlanta. It showed Warner exiting a recording studio, hood pulled low over his head, flanked by two men who looked like bodyguards. The fan shouted his name, and while the man didn't respond, he turned his head just enough for the camera to capture his profile. Within hours, analysts dissected the clip frame by frame. Some swore it was Warner. Others claimed the man's build was slightly off, his gait a fraction different. But to those desperate to believe, the resemblance was more than enough. By late September, the narrative had shifted from isolated rumors to an international phenomenon. Major outlets that once ignored the story began covering it reluctantly, unable to deny the scale of public interest. Panels debated the ethics of sharing unverified footage. Psychologists weighed in on the collective need to believe our heroes are never truly gone. Meanwhile, Warner's family maintained silence, their absence from the conversation only deepening suspicion. What had begun as a tragedy now stood at the crossroads of mystery and myth. Malcolm-Jamal Warner was either gone forever or hidden in plain sight. And the truth, whatever it was, seemed buried beneath layers of denial, cover-ups, and viral noise. For millions watching, the answer felt close enough to touch, yet impossible to grasp. By the beginning of October 2025, Malcolm-Jamal Warner's story had grown too large to contain. What started as a simple death announcement had transformed into one of the most perplexing celebrity mysteries in recent memory. Theories, footage, and silence had created a storm so vast that even the most skeptical voices could no longer dismiss it. The world was no longer asking, "Is Warner alive?" The world was asking, "Why don't we know for sure?" The internet was drowning in evidence, some of it credible, much of it not. A supposed autopsy report circulated briefly before being debunked as fabricated. Doctored funeral photos appeared on Facebook, featuring faces crudely photoshopped into the crowd. On TikTok, an account claiming to be a relative posted cryptic messages, only to vanish days later. Every new piece of proof was quickly challenged, dissected, and either debunked or championed by believers. But amid the noise, a few details stood out, small, stubborn facts that no one could explain away. The first was the absence of a death certificate. In California, death certificates are public records. Journalists from multiple outlets searched databases, contacted city clerks, and filed requests. Nothing came back. If Warner had truly passed in August, why was there no record? The second was the strange activity on Warner's official accounts. While his Instagram remained inactive, His Spotify artist page showed signs of life. 2 playlists were updated in late September, weeks after his reported death. Was this the work of a manager, a label, or Warner himself? No one could confirm. The third, and perhaps most chilling, was the footage itself. Despite claims of deepfakes, no expert could definitively prove the videos were synthetic. Forensic analysts hired by independent journalists concluded that while artifacts existed, they were consistent with low-quality phone recordings rather than AI manipulation. If this is a fake, one analyst said in an interview, "It's a level of sophistication we don't normally see in casual viral clips." Meanwhile, Warner's family remained silent. No interviews, no statements, no public appearances. For some, that silence was a sign of grief too deep to put into words. For others, it was damning, a refusal to confirm or deny what millions were desperate to know. Into this vacuum stepped the online sleuths, who treated Warner's mystery like an open-source investigation. Timelines were built, maps drawn, every alleged sighting pinned like evidence on a digital corkboard. Discord servers with thousands of members coordinated efforts to track Warner's supposed movements. Some claimed he was in Atlanta, others swore he had relocated to Texas. A few insisted he was outside the U.S., altogether hidden somewhere in the Caribbean. The theories split into 3 dominant camps. The first believed Warner was alive, having faked his death to escape pressures of fame or to protect his family from threats unknown. For them, the footage was real, the sightings credible, and the silence intentional. The second argued Warner had died, but forces around him, be it the entertainment industry, shadowy insiders, or opportunists online, were manipulating his image, releasing fakes to confuse and distract. This camp saw the footage as deliberate disinformation, a cruel distortion of a man's memory. The third, the most fringe but fastest growing, believed Warner's case represented something larger, a government program, a witness protection situation, or even an experiment in digital control. For them, Warner was not just a man but a symbol of how narratives could be manufactured, erased, or rewritten in real time. What made the mystery endure was not just the lack of answers, but the way it forced people to confront uncomfortable truth. In a world flooded with manipulated images, AI voices, and staged leaks, how do we know what's real? In an industry notorious for controlling stories, how much can we trust official statements? And in the endless churn of social media, where grief and curiosity collide, how do we separate mourning from myth-making? By mid-October, major networks were producing full-length specials on the Warner case. Documentaries featured interviews with former colleagues, digital forensic experts, and psychologists analyzing the collective obsession. News anchors debated whether this was the biggest celebrity hoax since Andy Kaufman, or something far darker. Yet despite all the coverage, one thing remained unchanged: the absence of certainty. No one could produce a verified death certificate. No one could conclusively debunk the footage, and no one could confirm Warner's whereabouts. For fans, that uncertainty was both torture and comfort. Torture because closure remained elusive, comfort because the possibility, however slim, that Warner was alive offered hope. As one fan put it in a viral post, "Until I see proof, I choose to believe he's still out there." The final twist came not from an official source, but from another piece of leaked footage. Grainy and dimly lit, it showed what appeared to be Warner in the passenger seat of a car, staring silently out the window as the city passed by. He didn't speak, didn't smile, just sat, looking distant, almost haunted. The clip was less than 10 seconds long, but it reignited the firestorm. To some, it was undeniable. To others, it was just another clever fake. And that, perhaps, is where the story truly rests. Not in the certainty of answers, but in the permanence of questions. Malcolm-Jamal Warner may be gone, or he may still be alive, moving in the shadows while the world debates his fate. What's undeniable is that his name, once synonymous with stability and artistry, has become a riddle for the digital age. A man declared dead, footage showing him alive, and a public caught in the middle, unsure which reality to believe.